in the Kursk region of the Russian Federation, part of which was captured by the Ukrainian Defense Forces. Entire villages were wiped off the face of the earth. The Russian army, in an attempt to push the Ukrainian Armed Forces beyond the border, is destroying its own settlements. A local resident told about this. The video is available on the Telegram channel Ukraine 365. A Russian woman openly described what the liberation of the region from the Ukrainian Armed Forces looks like. The Russian army bombs its own territories without mercy. Today, the village of Gordeyevka is gone. Our Troitskoye is gone too. Only a couple of houses remain. Pozdnyy too. Viktorovka, the community center where the village council was located. The library. Practically everything is allowed, the upset woman said. It should be noted that today about 500 square kilometers of the Kursk region are under the control of the Ukrainian Defense Forces. The Russian army, despite numerous assaults, has not been able to significantly shift the front lines in this area. Against the backdrop of current events, the Chief of the General Staff of Russia, Valery Gerasimov, suddenly reported on the fulfillment by the Russian army in 2024 of all tasks set by the country's leadership. Several days ago, at an expanded meeting of the Defense Ministry, Putin called for the Russian armed forces to throw out Ukrainian forces from the Kursk region for the third time in the last 4 months. He did this for the first time in August, a week after the Ukrainian armed forces entered Kursk. In November, he promised the Russians a quick cleansing of the region of enemy forces. However, this has not yet been accomplished. Earlier, media reported that Gerasimov gave the Russian army a new sentence for the Kursk region. The Russian army was tasked with regaining control of the entire Kursk region by January the 1st. It is not possible to carry out this order. This was reported by the influential Russian Telegram channel VCHK OGPU, which is believed to be linked to Russian special services. Chief of the General Staff Gerasimov set the task of liberating the territory of the Kursk region by January the 1st, 2025, and it is already clear that this task is impossible for the Russian armed forces, the channel reported. He specified that high-ranking military and officials are afraid to appear in the Kursk region, where Ukraine is very actively striking decision-making centers with HIMARS MLRS. They prefer to enjoy life in the deep rear, which Ukrainian missiles do not reach. The carefully calculated assassination of Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, the head of Russia's nuclear, biological and chemical protection troops, was designed to spread fear and loathing. Fear because if Ukrainian special forces can kill a top commander in Moscow, nobody is safe. Ukrainian officials say they hold him responsible for 4,800 incidents involving the use of chemical weapons against the country's forces since the start of the war, which they say have left more than 2,000 servicemen hospitalized and 3 dead. The murder of Kirillov is perhaps the most brazen and high-profile committed by Ukrainians to date, but it is not the first. The secret 5th Directorate of Counterintelligence of the SBU, which has a mandate to carry out targeted killings abroad, and the GUR, the Ukrainian Military Intelligence Agency, both operate on Russian territory, the article states. Both intelligence services are said to have sophisticated networks and methods of operation within the country. Their last previous target was believed to be Mikhail Shatsky, a weapons expert who helped Russia modernize cruise missiles used against Ukraine and who was shot dead near his home last week. Ukrainian agents have eliminated dozens of Russian commanders, officials, alleged collaborators, and propagandists since the start of the war, mostly in occupied Ukraine. American spies believe Ukraine was also involved in the car bombing that killed Daria Dugina, the daughter of Russian nationalist ideologue Alexander Dugin, in 2022. His murder fits an accelerating pattern of assassinations in Russia by Kyiv of senior Kremlin officials linked to the war. 5 days ago, a senior scientist on the Kremlin's missile program was shot dead in a forest in a Moscow suburb. Over the past couple of months, top Russian Air Force, Navy and Army commanders have been hunted down and killed in southern Russia. In many ways, the assassination of Kirillov feels like a high point for Ukraine's flamboyant assassination program, a fine-tuned process that has taken out senior propagandists, collaborator officials, journalists, scientists, and military officers in Russia and occupied Ukraine. Bombs hidden under cars, in scooters, and in vanity busts have been Ukrainian assassins' preferred tool, but they have also shot dead their targets. The events have dealt a serious blow to Putin's reputation. He is dissatisfied with the work of Russian counterintelligence and special services. Russian generals are in fear. Turkey and its allies are building up forces along the border with Syria, raising concerns in the United States. There is a possibility that Ankara is preparing for a major military operation. The force is said to include rebel fighters, Turkish commandos, and a large amount of artillery, and is concentrated near the town of Ain al-Arab. High-ranking American officials spoke about this in an exclusive commentary for the Wall Street Journal. One official said Turkey's build-up began shortly after the fall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria and said Ankara's actions were similar to what happened in 2019 before its invasion of northeastern Syria. We are focused on this and we are urging restraint, another U.S. official told reporters. The publication recalled that a representative of the Syrian Kurdish civil administration, Ilham Ahmed, appealed to newly elected U.S. President Donald Trump with a request to put pressure on Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Turkey's goal is to establish de facto control over Syria before you take office, forcing you to engage with them as rulers of our territory. If Turkey continues its operation, the consequences will be catastrophic, Ahmed wrote in a letter to Trump, seen by reporters. The newspaper added that US-brokered ceasefire talks between Syrian Kurds and Turkish-backed rebels in Ain al-Arab had failed, with a Syrian Democratic Forces spokesman saying there was now a significant military buildup to the east and west of the city. On the other side of the border, we already see Turkish troops advancing, Ahmed wrote to Trump. In addition, Trump hinted in a conversation with journalists that Turkey organized the takeover of Syria by the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham group, the publication recalled. The journalists also emphasized that during his first term, Trump partially withdrew American troops from northeastern Syria, which opened the way for the large-scale Turkish invasion. Hundreds of thousands of Syrians were killed or forced to flee their homes. The Republican administration later helped broker a ceasefire. Last week, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited Turkey in an effort to de-escalate tensions. Blinken sought assurances from Erdogan to limit operations against Kurdish forces, but was unable to secure any commitments, according to the report.